For years, the world has listened to thousands of podcasts. But if you dare to immerse yourself into a new experience, new ideas, viewpoints, award-worthy commentary, and a way of looking at things you didn't think were possible, strap in, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Gaming, current events, local and global, finance, sports, religion, health, and everything else. It's all here. It's all here in the Data Podcast.
Alright, so then we're going to record 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so then in the last one, right, we were discussing about, what were we talking about in the last one? I asked the question, does the Virgin Mary have power? That was the last thing I said. But before that, what I wanted to talk about was the Mark of the Beast. And I'm not going to make the tie-in, about what we were talking about, or we were comparing the Mark of the Beast to. If you didn't see the last podcast, I recommend that you go back, watch the last podcast, maybe the second half of it, and you'll see what we're talking about. But here, real brief, and I'll be brief here. What I wanted to say that I couldn't say because there was too many thoughts going on was that in the book of Revelation, what John, right, because it's John who's writing, right, he's the one that ascends essentially into heaven. And what happened was that he would hear something, right? But then when he turned, it was something else. And so then we said that the Mark of the Beast, right? You said that for you it's a literal mark on the hand or a literal mark on the forehead. And so what I wanted to say is just that it didn't come out the right way was when John had heard, right? Because when he goes up there, and I think it was the seraphs, and I should have done research. Right? I think it's the seraphim who's around the throne, right? And they're worshiping God, and they're like, glory, 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 or holy, 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 right?
And they don't stop.
Right? That's all they do. And then somebody there asks, well, who can open the scroll, right? And then
who's worthy?
Yeah, who's worthy to open the scroll? And somebody says, the lion of Judah is worthy. Of the tribe of Judah is worthy to open the scroll. And so then that's what he heard. So we're like expecting a lion, but then when he turned to see who was going to open the scroll, it turned out that it was a lamb. And so what I wanted to say was that John also heard, right, that the number of the beast would be on the right hand or on the forehead, but then there was nothing to turn to see because we don't get to see that, we don't know.
Yeah,
there's no explanation. That's what I wanted to bring back. So what are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
so it goes to what I was saying also, that there's not enough information for us to go off of, right? There's not enough. There was not enough time spent to explain it, so we don't know what it could be. If it's literal, it could be symbolic also.
Yeah,
you know.
So what you're saying is like, why spend too much time on something que we don't really know what it means?
Yeah.
And I actually went back and looked at it. The Jews and I read what you were saying. Que they would put what was it, like a scriptures on their hands and on their foreheads. I read that, and so it's like this idea of the number of the beast is like kind of like a mocking of that way of praying. And so this was just something I wanted to bring back really quick on the revelations that John. And so I guess here we can talk about. I'll bring it back in the end. We'll talk about the Squid Games at the end.
All right.
And we'll talk about it and try to tie it in with the stock markets. But then we'll go back to my question then from the last one. Does the Virgin Mary have power? And what I mean here is like power to save, the power of salvation, the power to heal,
Yeah.
right? So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so my answer would be very, very simple. It goes against what the Bible says. It's in one of the commandments
Yeah.
is thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Mhm.
So if you see the Virgin Mary as any kind of power or deity, then you're seeing it as a god,
Yeah.
and you're breaking this commandment.
Mhm.
The whole Bible is all about that, right?
Yeah.
That God is a jealous God.
Mhm.
That you should not worship any other god or
Yeah.
any of that.
Mhm.
And a lot of people say, well, we don't see her as a god. We just pray to her because she's there near to God,
Yeah.
so she could intervene for
Yeah.
me or whatever. And then
Mhm.
there's another verse that also explains it, and it says, there's only one God
Yeah.
and one mediator between
Mhm.
God and man, and that is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So God is the only mediator, the only one that we have to pray to, the only one that has the power to save. He was
Mhm.
the only one that given the power, the power of His name to save, to do all these things. No one else,
Yeah.
not the Virgin Mary or anything. And a lot of people would go and say, Virgin Mary is the very mother of God Himself, so she must have some kind of power.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I said, but she's just an instrument.
Mhm.
God was just using
Yeah.
her like it could have been any one of us.
Yeah, and I've said that in the past also. Okay, like that the Virgin Mary was just like an instrument. But I've actually gone a little bit worse, and I said like she's just like the pot,
Okay.
and so like a plant came out of it,
Mhm.
right? And so she was just using that fashion. And I've gotten into debate, right, where some women find that offensive when I
Okay.
said like she just served the purpose of giving birth, and that was it.
Yeah.
So she was just used like a vessel. That was it. And so I've gotten into arguments with other women because they don't like that stance of like it's like me trashing women here.
Yeah.
But as in like for me, all of this stuff, right? Because when you hear like the Catholic prayers and stuff, for me it's like that make the connection with Proverbs, the last chapter on the virtuous woman. And it's like of all the women on the earth at this
Mhm.
time, she was the only one deemed worthy that could
Yeah.
birth the son of God, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say that she's not an important person or
Mhm.
important character in the Bible, whatever, because she was probably destined since the beginning of time for her to be the one that was used to
Yeah.
be the mother of God. But it's just a task that was assigned to her, and then
Yeah.
she was the one
Mhm.
to fulfill it. But she's only important in the sense that she's part of the family of God, of the
Yeah.
people who God has saved. She's just one of us. Like we're
Yeah.
one of
Mhm.
them also. Like
Yeah.
if you have received
Mhm.
Jesus, right, you're part of that family,
Yeah.
of that group, and that's all that there is. There's no
Mhm.
power. There's no way that you can pray to this being or deity or whatever that you consider.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? There's a book on the Bible. I think it's Luke that starts
Okay.
off with a genealogy. Which book is it on the New Testament? There's only one that starts off
like that. Maybe
with a
Luke.
genealogy, and I think it's Luke. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to tell you or tell the person
The
who's
lineage.
reading. He's painting the lineage from David, how
All
it
the
comes
way to
down to
Jesus.
Mary. Like
Okay, Mary.
so, like Mary is the right. It's like the what do you say? Like the root. Like she's part of the bloodline, the King David.
Yeah.
Right. So then Jesus has like authority through that line because it was the line of David that was essentially
Like a
blessed.
royalty,
The
family.
royal family, and then being the part of the Son of God, then that's another kind of holiness,
Yeah.
So there is that, and so here with the Virgin Mary, right? And I know, okay, I'm gonna step on Catholic toes here. This is where I tell Catholic friends for doing this stuff of
Mhm.
praying to the Virgin Mary. I tell them like just flat out, you're looking to burn in hell.
Okay.
That's what you're looking at doing here,
Mhm.
because the Bible says that, and it's not just the Bible. Jesus says,
Mhm.
Jesus, right? In my version of the Bible, when Jesus speaks, his words are printed in red, and so he
Okay.
says, "Nobody comes to the Father except through me."
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Mhm.
So I've pointed that scripture out to Catholic friends and Catholic people I know, and even then, they don't understand. They can't. This doesn't enter. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how I cannot reach them with aquí está, and I
Yeah.
tell them like it's right here. I have it right here, pero they don't.
They won't accept
They
it at all.
won't budge. Yeah. They won't
Yeah,
budge on this.
because they're already 100% firm on what they believe is like a religious belief that they have. Not that they have actually gone and studied and it's found out for themselves. It's something that they have been taught since they were little. And for
Mhm.
some reason, in our culture, right, what we've been taught, that's what we're gonna believe. stubbornly. We're gonna be stubborn about this, even if we don't know the truth behind it or the facts. This is just, I was taught this, and this is the way it's gonna be.
And nobody tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
Like that's hard beliefs. They don't even budge on it, man. They don't accept anything else. And so what it was for me was, I was raised as Catholic, not hardcore, but I would go to church, and the churches that I would go to was that one, the Immaculate, like that's on Britain Avenue.
Okay.
And so, right, it's like I see all of the repetition, and it's like every Sunday is the same thing.
Yeah.
And we start off, right, and then the priest ahí arriba, and the singing, and then there's like a version. It's still to this day. If you were to have gone today is Sunday. If you would have gone today, there's a section where they do like por mi culpa, I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's the same thing again and again, Sunday after Sunday. And then they eat that bread stuff and the wine, the Eucharist stuff. And at the end, it's peace be with you. They collect the money, and it's the same thing every Sunday. Yeah. For me, all of this stuff, right? Growing up as a kid, it was a joke. It was a joke for me, because it was repetitive, and then I didn't see the point of any of this. I didn't see the point of this, And I could see like como people when they'd pass out that to collect money. I'd see like como people, putting big amounts ahí.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that what they thought was like the more they put in, the more they'd be forgiven for. I mean, that's where the stupid mind can go.
Okay.
Where you can leave the mind to a fool así, to go on his own, right? On his own beliefs, thinking like that. Pero ahí, for the most part, for me, once I started reading for myself and I started learning the truth, I was very angry. I was very, very angry. Because that was a waste of time. Okay. That was a waste of Sundays. How many Sundays were wasted going to crap? You know what I mean? And so, once I found out the truth, that it was none of this praying the rosary stuff or having to pray to some man that you call father ahí, and he's not a father, he's somebody like you and me. When I found out the truth, man, I was offended. I was like, como devil, like, como well played. You almost had me. Like, if I would have kept on in this route, you would have had me. But you don't have me anymore. Yeah. So now I belong to someone else, and now I belong to Jesus, because now I know the truth. And so now, knowing that, right, being a Christian, for me, it's like part of our job is also to disciple. It's part of spreading the good news, right, of who is Jesus and what can he do, what does he do, what does he promise, and show you examples, right, of his promises and what he has to offer. I've gone back and tried to reason with, and I started small. I started with my family, of course. The biggest person who gave me the most problems was my own dad. Oh, okay. He does not budge on this. He's like just stubborn. Okay, the Virgin Mary does have power. It just did, and at that point, it's for me. It's like I can only do so much, I can only do so much, and so he also says like, and not just him, but other people. They're like, "Tú que sabes? Like you're young, no sabes nada, right?" But this is not that I know anything. I'm not saying I know everything. I have it right here. Yeah. I have the evidence right here. I have it right here. Aquí está. I have it in my scripture. Yeah, why don't you understand? That's what. Blows my mind.
I've never had a conversation with hardcore, or not hardcore, but just any Catholic that is strongly, founded in their faith. Yeah. And having like an argument and differences. I've never had that. I guess I never really went out and looking for it. But in my experience growing up, I've told you before, I've been in church since I was a little kid. Yeah. Right. I remember the first day my mom came home, or I came home from school, and my mom told me, "We're gonna go to church today," and I don't remember questioning it at all, or I already knew what it was. Yeah. I don't know, for some reason, maybe I had already heard about people talking about church or about God. For some reason, I already knew. So I just remember showing up, and it was a Catholic church. Yeah. And they were, and I liked it. They started teaching us about Jesus Christ, in the Bible, and certain psalms and stuff, and stories about the Bible. But what I saw, in the Catholic church more than anything is, people would go to church to do like it's an action that they're taking, that for them, actually, like getting up, going to church, sitting down and listening to whatever the priest is saying. Yeah. That act alone is an act of holiness. Like that sets you apart from the people. And now I'm a person who attends church. Now I'm different, right?
Mm-hmm.
When actually is that action alone is not doing anything, because you're probably not even understanding what they're saying up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a religious ritual just that they do. They don't really understand many times what the priest is saying.
Yeah.
So then the years went on, and somehow we found ourselves going to a Christian church. And the difference was in the Christian church, it was you need to find out on your own, practice what you've learned, not just because someone is saying it, or even the pastor is saying it, or someone is teaching it to you.
Yeah.
You need to learn this stuff on your own for you, for you to be rooted and grounded on what you really believe. Yeah. So it was homework for you. It was like not now it's not just about what they're telling me or what they're saying, is I actually have to find out for my own. Yeah. And to the point where learn it so much that you're going to be teaching this to someone else, because you, like you said, you're calling other people to the feet of Christ, right? So you have to know this stuff. Yeah. So that was the main difference, and that's why I always say people who are in Catholic Church is not just that they're ignorant or whatever, or they don't know. It's just sometimes they're just so stubborn and they strongly believe what they've been taught, but they don't really know it themselves. They haven't really gone back and found out the details, because if you read the Bible, it's very clearly, like I was saying before, the Bible says you should have no other gods before me. There's only one mediator. It never mentions you should pray to Mary, or you should pray to this other thing. Yeah. It never mentions that at all. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah. I actually think it's easier to convert somebody who doesn't know anything about Jesus as to convert somebody who's Catholic. I think it's easier, and mainly because when it comes to it's my how I compare this is when it comes to shooting, like shooting guns. Okay. In the army, they found that it's easier to teach women because they've never held a gun, as opposed to try to unteach what a guy thinks is right, because they have to unteach that, break those habits, and then teach the new. Whereas opposed to a girl, it's just teaching directly. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like the same way. You'd have to unteach the things Catholics believe. You have to unteach that first, and then this is how it actually is. And the way it actually is easy. Nada que ver with what the Catholics are doing. Nada que ver with the rosaries and the what is it, the joyful mysteries and all these things. There's I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. For every day, there's a different kind of prayer. There's a different kind of prayer in the rosary.
And this is a repetitive prayer.
Yeah, it's a repetitive
prayer. And the Bible also talks about that. Don't be like this, I don't know, the Pharisees or whatever, where they just repeat words.
Yeah, just like saying, what is the word he uses? Lofty prayers.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Like crappy prayers, I guess, in a sense.
For me, I see the Catholic Church being close to what Christians are at, because they know Jesus Christ, they accept him, and they know that he's the Lord and the Son of God and all that. So in that, they have the hope that Jesus Christ is the Savior, and they know him and everything. It's just that the church is filled up with all this other clutter, right? With all these things that we don't think are correct, and they're obviously not, because they're mentioned in the Bible. But the way I see it is, other religions, other beliefs, and other groups, they're far worse, because they don't even hold Jesus Christ as their Savior. They don't accept him. They just think he was a prophet. Yeah. So for me, Catholics are maybe easy to find out, to get them to learn for themselves what the truth is. Yeah. But like you said, it might be harder because of the stubbornness of this is the way it's always been, and to unlearn that and to learn something different. But the Catholic Church, right, it has a lot of stuff that is not right, that we don't believe is right. But for me, in the Christian church also, there's a lot of things that are not right in there. Maybe it's not in the form of a statue or a virgin or something else that we're worshiping, but and stuff that we're not doing correctly, that we're not treating our brother correctly, we're not showing them the right way, we're not showing them the Christ way. We're showing them some other way. And as I mentioned before in the past, the way that different kind of preachers preach that is not Christ based. And I went back to where in Revelation it mentions the different churches, and how God says, you're doing this right, but you have to fix this. This is what I hold against you, that you're doing this other thing wrong. Get the searching.
I'm searching the churches of Revelation. Aquí están. So it was Ephesus. Okay. Smyrna, Pergamon, and in my version it's called Pergamos. Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea.
Yeah, and all these, they got like praises them for something that they're doing right.
And then he would.
But then he says, "You're still doing this other thing that's wrong."
This is what I hate. Yeah, he says
so
like.
None of those churches were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the same thing for today. Even the Catholic Church is not perfect, but the Christian Church is not perfect either. We have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
And my eyes would be like, this is the closest thing to what I believe it should be. But there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed, right?
Yeah. And I've tried, man. I've tried to, like, I decided to start small. I decided to start with my family. I tried the Christ approach where it's like simple, aquí está, these are the facts, And even then, I mean, some just... No entran puntos. And it was a day I found myself in the Stripes, and I was preaching while I was pumping gas. Mm-hmm. And then so like one guy comes up to me and he's like, "Why should we listen to you?" Yeah. He's like, "Well, who are you?" And I'm just like, "Do you say that because I'm not dressed in a funny costume? Because I'm not wearing and me shitting on Catholics, right?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, because I'm not wearing a dress and a funny pointy hat. Is this why who should listen to me? Or are you saying who should listen to me because I'm not old? Or both, right? Yeah. This is what I told the guy. And then I said, is your problem that because I'm younger than you don't like what I have to say because I know much more than you do? Yeah. Right? And it's like these people, what they think is like somebody who's older than them, they should know more than us, right? And in a sense they do, but how many people that are older than us do you see doing stupid things, right? Yeah. At the same time, there is that. So then I told this guy, I was like, age has nothing to do with this. Yeah. Jesus was younger than even the Pharisees, and they didn't like him. Mm-hmm. And he was the wisest of everybody. Yeah. He was the wisest of us all, of everybody at that time even. So aquí, sir, age has nothing to do with it. And this is a direct verdad. Aquí se avienta a todos who was ever looked at. I don't know if you ever faced this problem. Yeah, no, right. But anybody else who thinks that age is everything, it ain't.
No, the Bible talks about this too, and we were talking about foolishness, right? I wouldn't call anyone foolish. People are smart and everything, but they're foolish in this that the Bible is there, and what you have to do is go and read the details and get the facts, and then think for yourself, right? Yeah. And this is what drove me to study it. Yeah. Because sometimes there are very intelligent people, educated people that are very smart people that go back and double check everything that they do, their work, and they're really smart, right? But for some reason, their religious aspect of their life, they don't double check that. Yeah. They just accept whatever has been told the first time, and they take that, right? So foolishness can be that also, that you had all this time to check and to read, and you didn't figure it out and you just accepted what everyone told you. And for me, that was a very important decision that I had to make. I was like, what I believe, the religion that I believe, or my spiritual life, I want to know 100% about it. I don't want someone to tell me, right? So I thought that I had to spend time and invest time and get to know, because I didn't want to get old or something to happen to me, and then maybe be face to face with God, and he was like, because you had the intelligence to read and to have time to read and to learn for yourself, to find out for yourself what this is, and you never did. You just accepted whatever someone else told you. So for that, I found that kind of like an urgent thing that I had to do. Yeah. But the Bible does say also that he hides some of his secrets or his wisdom, right, from even the smart, the intelligent people, and he gives it to common people, even people who you might think are dumb or whatever, but he'll use those people to show his wisdom. Like he'll reveal everything to the most common person that you wouldn't believe, secrets that no one and they're, for all that they can try to study, they would find out, it will be revealed to them. Yeah. And that's how I feel in my life, right? I was saying before that I consider myself a dumb person. It was like a wrong word, but not so smart. But all the things that I know are only because of the grace of God, because His will. Yeah, gave you that I learned to be able those things,
read and to be able to interpret what the actual meaning is. Yeah, I like this one idea that I had seen, and they're talking about, well, how come they're talking about this stuff? Why does God choose like one person acá, and it's like, well, you're the prophet in secret, right, and go into all these people, right? So people who ask that question, right, just to like, they do this to kind of throw you off. So like they're questioning, they're questioning your beliefs. Yeah. He does this with angels also. he sends the messengers, right?
Okay.
It's like with Moses, it's a burning bush. So that's the angel working through a burning bush that tells him, right, this is what you're going to do, right? What this tells me is like, come on, nobody's worthy to hear just the voice of God alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a messenger. It's always like, and at that point, you could also say the messengers among themselves. Well, how come they send like the one messenger?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they send us all, you know? It's the same thing. Not everybody is worthy, like here, like a Virgin Mary. Not everybody is worthy of hearing the message. Like, it's one person who's selected, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, in the case of Moses, somebody who was royalty and then eventually became humble, right? Was out in the wilderness, approaching a burning bush, and this is what you're gonna do. This is what you have to do.
Well, nowadays, I believe that anybody can approach God and is worthy, right?
Yeah.
Of talking to God or God talking to them.
Yeah.
The way that I believe God talks to you, and maybe not like an audible voice that people have said that, I heard the voice of God, or I seen a vision or whatever. There's those cases that are rare.
Yeah.
Maybe I've never experienced something like that, but I do believe that God speaks to you through His Word, through the Word of God, through the Bible, right, and through your life experience.
Oh yeah.
And you compare what you learned, and through what you're going through, or what you've went through, and then you fact check and like, oh, this falls in line with like whatever happened to me. Yeah. It matches what was happening here. So you're learning about the personality of God through the Word, right? So now it used to be back then that not everybody could just have a conversation with God. So God would talk to Moses, and then Moses would talk to the rest of the people and convey the message. But nowadays we're all responsible. We're like, there's no excuse for us to have and say, "Plus, I can't approach God and ask Him." We can all do it because now Jesus Christ has died, and He has broken the veil that was in between the holiest of the places and when.
Didn't this happen to Paul of Tarsus? Didn't they start to pray to him for like him being the mediator? Or who was it? Or was it Peter? I can't remember who it was. They started praying to one of the disciples, and the disciple got pissed. He was like, "Como no, yo no." He's like, "Como you." I can't remember who it was. I think it was Paul, but I'm not sure. Maybe. Where he got offended that they were like starting to. I don't know if they did like a statue or something to commemorate him or somebody. Okay. I can't remember the details. Now I have to go back and read and find out. But this is the question of, does the Virgin Mary have power? And here I've been shitting for the most part on Catholics here for a good amount of time now. I can tell you this. The Catholic Church does have one positive thing going. The only thing that I find good about them is the confession thing, right? Because if I say like, I'm the priest, right, and you confess to a priest in like these booth things, and I've only seen it in movies, and it's always like, forgive me, Father, if I have sinned, right? And I've only ever seen them. I don't know how this works. I don't know how any of this works. But I suppose it's like they do this like once a week or something. Let's say that it's like Tuesday. And so like, I'm the priest, right? And somebody comes up to me and they tell me like, well, these are the forgive me, Father, right? And then so I'm like, well, what's going on, son, right? That's like in the movies, you know? And so then just like, they tell me like, well, what I've been doing is like, and I'll just throw an example here. It's like, I've been cheating on my spouse, right? Okay, so then I tell them like, go and read 10 Hail Marys, right? Because that's what they do in the movies. And I'm assuming that they do this in real life too, right? That's what these Catholics do. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll just 10 Hail Marys and I'm forgiven from this sin. So they keep on, right? And then they have, this is a double, it's a good thing, I'll get there. But it's a bad thing also because then it gives them an excuse. I can keep doing this, come back, and the priest will just tell me, right, do this, and I'm forgiven. And they believe it, right? But what I'm trying to say here is like, let's say that in this particular Tuesday, right, back after back, right? People coming to me, right? Males, females coming back over and over and over with the same problem, infidelity, trying to be faithful. Then it helps me, right? Serve the community where I can say, and I can draw my sermon, and I can say, all right, so on Sunday when I get up there, my sermon is going to be on being faithful. Yeah. And so this is how I can serve the community. So this is the only positive I see, serving the community in this sense. But at the same time, it gives people an excuse. It gives these, I already said they're already fools, right? You didn't want to call them that, I will. I'll say if Catholics are fools, they're already fools, and so this just makes them even more foolish. Because why? Because, oh, well, if the Padrecito over here will take away the sins, if I just go and pray 10 Hail Marys, then I can go do something worse and maybe not only cheat on my wife with her sister, right, but I can cheat on the wife with her sister and the mom and whoever else, right? Whatever it is that people do, I don't know, right? And this is what happens because they already know that they'll be forgiven.
And it'll just be 20 Hail Marys instead of 10. And
by this one guy. So this is a problem also. Mm-hmm. But I can see here like it serves the community in this sense. But me, for the most part, and I'm straightforward, I don't bend on this. I believe that the Catholics are just on a...
To the Catholic church that I had attended, I never seen the confession part of it. I never seen where like you go and confess your sins.
Maybe it's hidden or something. I never saw it aquí either.
You never saw it either? No. I never seen it. I know that I saw it in movies and stuff. But
like Iglesia San Juan, I know where it's at because they have it. They have it like a... They have like a map. Like once you enter the church, it's like over here is like the gift shop or something. Y pacata,
and there's a section.
There's a section for confession. Yeah, there's a section for confession.
So it does exist.
It does exist. Yeah. Pero pues I mean, for me, these guys, right? They're on the way to. They're on the wrong path. They're on the wrong track. And like I said, there's only so much you can do at this point. So we've been talking about Virgin Mary, right? We kind of deviated, I tangented off, but it all goes in together. It's all connected. So we can keep talking about this, but we need to move on. Let's talk about the NASCAR thing.
Let's go, Brandon.
The NASCAR event, right? So my understanding what had happened was it was a reporter, right, Pobrecita, and she's interviewing the winner, right? I don't know what the cups are called in NASCAR. I've only ever seen the sport once. It's a southern dominated sport. If you were to say like a North versus South, right? Okay. Confederacy, right? Then the South is dominated by this fans of this NASCAR stuff. So that being said, right, the South for the most part is predominantly Republican or conservative. So this reporter, right? She says, I don't know if I'm getting this right. She says, "Oh, look, they're chanting, 'Let's go, Brandon,' right?
Let's go, Brandon, yeah.
Let's go, Brandon." But the audience was actually chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden."
Yeah.
So she got the whole story wrong. So
yeah, because she was recorded, but they went back to the video and it was clearly heard what the crowd was.
Fuck Joe Biden.
Was chanting,
and so
then they made fun of her, and now this is a meme now, right?
Yeah, it's a meme.
They placed it on billboards and everywhere.
Shirts, hats. It's all over the place. "Let's go, Brandon," which is like a big offense to Democrats right now. Yeah. If you tell a Democrat like "Let's go, Brandon," it's very offensive.
Yeah.
To the Democrat type.
No respects there to the President of the United States.
Yeah, no. So this is where like we're talking about respect. Like I don't respect that fool, man.
You don't respect
Joe Biden? Nah. I don't respect that guy. I think he's an idiot. I wouldn't be afraid to tell him like when you're doing the crap ass jobs. And I don't think he'd even understand, because I don't think he's all there, man. I don't think he even knows where he is. Half the time.
Can't even walk up the stairs. That guy
can't even climb the stairs.
No, I respect everybody, right? I respect him, especially with the title as the President of the United States of America. Do I believe in all his ideas and ideologies and all this? No, I don't. Yeah. But I respect the person. He has his own. He has the right to believe whatever he wants to believe, and the people, voted for him.
Yeah,
he's the president. He deserves respect. But no.
So me, I don't agree with this guy. I'm not afraid to tell him that he's doing a crappy job. I wouldn't be afraid to tell him right there. That's what I see. Like, a lot of people are afraid to tell these guys, like, off. Like, not like just go and be disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. But
just stand up to them like, I don't agree with what you're saying.
They're there to serve you, not the other way around.
Right.
They're your servants. Yeah.
I'm gonna mention now about the governor of Texas. And props to him, because he did the right thing, and he stood up to what the president had said, and he went against it and said he banned the mandate that Biden had proposed. So this is where the difference is made. Is he doing something? Is he doing the right thing, or is he doing the popular thing, the thing that is expected, what everybody wants him to do, or is he going to do the right thing?
Yeah.
And this is where I wanted to say props to this governor. We're lucky first to have someone who was bold enough to make these kind of decisions, doing a great job and taking these kind of decisions and going against the popularity and against what the president himself had mandated. And because he believes in the vaccines and everything, he knows what the path is towards getting out of this pandemic. He wants to, but he also believes in that people they should not be forced to do it, right? And so this is the only thing that he's saying. we need to get vaccinated. We need to do all these things, but we're not going to force people to do this. And this is a very good, kudos to the governor.
Yeah.
And another thing that he did is when they asked him, there's another governor in California now that is putting forth a requirement for the retail stores. I think they have to be like big stores. Not all the stores have to be a certain size.
Okay.
But their toy sections have to have an aisle specifically for gender neutral toys, or the toys cannot be separated. They have to be mixed in together in there. And whenever they asked this governor, what he thought about it, he said not in Texas. It's not coming here. So, props to him for being bold on
gender neutral toy aisle.
Yeah.
It's like it's a decline of society, man. With that, my views on this transgender stuff, gays and lesbians y todo esto. These people, I think it's a mental illness. It's a mental, psychological problem.
Mm-hmm.
I would throw it up there, like, if we say like schizophrenics need to be locked up, I would throw them even on top of them, because these people, their beliefs are, and they believe this to be true. They believe this is factual, that there is something beyond female and male, and this is not this isn't factual. Biologically, this is incorrect.
What threw me off is that the section that they focused on in the store is the toy section where the kids are. Why not any other section? No, the kids, the ones that are most vulnerable to being confused. This is where they're putting it. And I said, I don't think that it matters, because a little kid knows, even if all the toys are mixed in there. If a boy walks in there and he sees a bunch of Barbies, he's not going to pay attention to them. He's going to buy. He's going to get the little car or whatever. This is just something that they think that they're doing right, but what they're doing is just confusing the heck out of people, man.
This is insane, man. This is all of this Holly queer crap. I think Hollywood has and you know what? Like they said, like California's gonna fall one day. It'll fall, and it'll be because of this. God already ordered it, so it's gonna burn. Someday it'll fall into. It's only a matter of time. But these people are crazy, man.
What I think, they're just creating confusion, bro. Because there's no reason for this. The governor of Texas is not that he's against it or anything. He's just not forcing companies to do this. Like, if a company wants to have a gender neutral toy section or aisle or whatever, they're allowed to do it. Everybody can do it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the way that the companies stock their toys, or they do their aisles, is based on sales data. Like, this is the way that we're going to get most sales if we do it this way, right? But now the government is intervening and saying you must have a toy aisle that is gender neutral. It has nothing to do with the rights of the company to do whatever they want. Now it's a political agenda.
I don't know if you heard with what's going on ahorita with Dave Chappelle. He's like a comedian on Netflix. And so this guy, right, his special, he's getting canceled right now. That's what they're working on, canceling him. And so in his special, what he does is, and in the previous ones also, he kind of makes fun of the LGBTQ community, right? He like tells jokes.
Yeah.
Now, this is a comedian. This is an entertainer. This is someone who you don't have to watch if you don't agree with what they're saying. Like, me, if I don't believe in the Islamic faith, right, I'm not going to sit down and watch it, right? Because I don't agree with it, right? Nobody is forcing me to watch it, so I'm not going to watch it, right? I have freedom. So this is a problem with this cancel culture stuff. Si no te gusta, you don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to watch this guy, right? Nobody has you there. So this guy, what he did in his special is, and you gotta watch it, man. I recommend that you watch it before they even take it down. And I hope they don't. Ahorita Netflix is hardcore. Que they're firmly planted. Everybody wants them to cancel Dave Chappelle, but Netflix is firm ground right now. Cause they're not going to. So in the special, right, basically what it is, like the essence of it was, he has a friend named Daphne. And so this is my confusion aquí with the transsexual, right? This is a man who became a woman. So I don't know what you call it, but this is what so a man who became a woman, right? So this is his friend. And she's a comedian also. So then he invites her to like join his tours, one of his tours, because they're like comedians are like bands, like famous bands, and they go around touring, right? So they have an opening act. So he invited her to be part of the opening act, and so she saw because she like bombed in one of them, and he like and at the end he like gives her points. He's like telling her like, hey, I can help you, I can give you some pointers, like you are funny, like you can be funny outside of this, like I can help you. And she was like, or he was like, yeah, you really do that, like that's great. So then what happened was he became really good friends with her, right? And so she in one of the recent before even this one, pues también they were working on canceling him because of the same stuff. And so she went on Twitter and she kind of defended him. And she said like something along the lines like Dave Chappelle doesn't punch anyone, he doesn't punch down or punch up or punch sideways. He delivers punchlines. That's his job. Like he's a comedian. And so he's like saying like part of this whole problem with cancel culture is toxic tribalism, where it's like you have a belief of something and you're so firmly planted on it that before even somebody comes to like try to like not argue pero not convince you but have a healthy discussion, you're already firmly planted and and you're willing to like go to like some lengths to cause harm on this person, right? To hurt them based on what you believe. So this is like toxic tribalism. And so at the end he says something like I'll stop telling these jokes when we all come to an agreement. And he says he's a black guy, and he says when you stop, how does he say, when you stop not discriminating, but something along the lines, when you stop hurting my people. That's what he says. And so you would think he's like, I'm talking about like the black community, but what he means is like his people is like the comedian tribe, right? They get canceled for saying anything. So this girl or guy, right, Daphne, he went on Twitter and defended, right, Dave, and her being part of the transgender community. What happened was the transgender community attacked her. They went after her for defending him. Now she's not only part of that; she's also part of David's tribe, which is being a comedian. And so what happened was I guess the bullying went too far, and eventually, right, this comedian Daphne person went up a building and just killed herself. Like she just dropped dead. And so in the special, while he's telling this story, right, he tells a joke about it, and he's like, how do I know that Daphne was a man? Because only a man would have the balls to get up on a building and jump off and kill himself like that, right? So the audience is like, ooh, like kind of like, como you went too far. Yeah. And so he's like, the fact like that you all just reacted like this, know nothing about what we do here. And he's like, and you know nothing about my relationship with Daphne. He says like, if she would have heard that joke, she would have laughed at it. She would have laughed. And she's like, she's laughing at that joke, like this because you don't know her. Yeah. And this is part of the thing, the cancel culture and standing on what you believe. You know, standing firm on what you believe. And so for me, one of the greatest or the worst things about humanity is when people abandon their beliefs. Yeah. They become renegades and they're willing to, in order to go with popular opinion or in order to please someone else. And I saw this particularly with some students of mine. And I saw them, we did like this project, and some of them were like picking out clothing, right? And we were comparing prices. Yeah. And then, right, they had like an idea, like I'd ask one volunteer, right? Pues me gustan estos, right? And I remember being a kid, I also going through this. And then what happens is like the other students are like, no, esos tantos chafos. And they completely abandon what made them happy in order to please their friends, right? Yeah. So it didn't just stop as kids. I've seen this also transition into adults now. Yeah. For me, I don't have this problem. But I've seen people our age, a little bit younger, or even older than us. It's hard. Yeah, I wanted to mention that there was a survey that was done, and I wanted to bring it up a few podcasts back when we were talking about this. That it was a survey that was done, and people were asked, or actually, people were confessing that they were actually afraid to speak out about something that they believed in because they were afraid like of what other people would say or think about them, about their own opinions. This is like for me the greatest downfall or the greatest problem, like the worst thing that could happen is when I've seen this, when people completely abandon what it is that makes them happy, what they identify, in order
to go with the crowd.
In order to go with the
instead
crowd.
of standing up for what they actually believe in.
At that point, you're not you.
Yeah.
You're part of the machine. You're part of the flow.
And this is what the problem is, that people are not taught to think for themselves. They're just taught to go with whatever the flow is.
Yeah.
And there's a saying that goes, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
You'll go with whatever.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good quote. This ties in with what we were talking about earlier. Does the Virgin Mary have power? This is a opinion that everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go against that, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you've attended Catholic church this entire time and then you got up and you said, "Hey, why are we doing this crap?"
Yeah.
Like, nowhere in the Bible does it say that this lady has power or we should pray the rosary. Can you imagine? Nobody would dare.
No.
But this is part of the same problem. Okay, you've been conditioned so much into believe in something that. Yeah, it makes you happy, but it's wrong,
Yeah, and
it's
this
wrong.
is people. We're at a point now where we think we're so intelligent, right? We're moving. This is now the modern way of thinking, and this is the way that it should be. And if you think any otherwise, you're old. You're a caveman. And
What he called us with those vaccines? He called the governors Neanderthals.
Neanderthals, yeah, because you guys are outdated. You guys and. What I see here is when we're watching that video about the veterans, right? Is what they believe in, what they sacrifice their lives for, is to protect something that is our history, like our Constitution, right? And we want to keep things the way that they were.
Yeah.
And these people are like, no, you need to. And these people have given their life and sacrificed themselves for all this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now it's like, no, you need to change your mind and you need to be more modern and think, modernize yourself. When this actually is all we're doing with this modern thinking is actually, it's not smart. It's people have reached their maximum potential of intelligence, and now it's all downhill from here. I was saying that an animal is more intelligent than these people because they know when they're born, they know what they are, whether they're like male or female. They know what their job is to reproduce, and all these poor. The people, they're so confused. I don't know if you've heard about Demi Lovato, right?
Oh, yes.
So when I was growing up, I watched her on television on Disney, and I thought she was really pretty and pretty
Let me pull
cool.
her up. Let me see if I can find a picture.
And my wife always makes fun of me because she turned. She's now like a guy or something, whatever. And now when I've seen her interviews, she says like, I don't want to be referred to as like a woman, as her or she. I want to be referred to as they. Yeah. And she said, like, at that point, like, this is what I identify as for now. But in the future, like, maybe 1 year from now, I don't know what it is that I'm going to be identifying as. So this is how you know that these people, they're just confused. Like, you're just giving them more options to choose from that these options shouldn't even exist in the first place. So now they don't even know what they need to be. And this is when, are these people really smart, and is this really the modern way of thinking, or is the way that we think the way that it has always been for forever? Is it the way that it's supposed to be, the way that even animals behave? They go by what they were born to do.
I think that this stuff is good in this sense that these people can't procreate, and so we remove this stupidity genes from the gene pool and get them out, and so we can't infect the future generations.
What I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with it, but the fact that they're just confusing the heck out of all the other people, like all the children, and now there's options, and now just let us do the way that we've always been doing things. If there's an adult that thinks any other different way, you do whatever you want, but just stop confusing the heck out of these people. This is what we're doing. I mean, we see it's evident with this girl here. Yeah. Well, whatever. I'm sorry, they or whatever it is. She doesn't know what the heck she wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah, what was I going to say? We were talking about, I said the gene pool thing, but then, se me fue la onda. I can't remember where my thoughts were going. This is part of the problem. Okay? I can't remember. There's so many things going on in my mind, but now we've been talking about this gender toy aisle, neutral gender toy aisle thing. And I'm proud to be a Texan, man. I'm glad we have a Republican governor.
Oh, we're lucky, man. There's someone who can make bold decisions like.
Can you imagine, like, if they start feeding us this crap in It's gonna get to a point. It will eventually, where at any restaurant that you go to, it'll be in some fashion or another. Either the burger will be in the shape of a penis or something, and I can see it. I can see it happening. I can see the downfall of a society, and we're in no. They're pushing it, man. They're pushing it. And so, for me, I said that this is like a sickness. And I don't know if you ever saw on TLC the show My Strange Addiction.
I've never seen.
It's like people who have an addiction to things. There's like this one girl who eats light bulbs, and she's like they interviewed. I asked her like, "Hey, what do you like eating light bulbs?"
She's eating glass.
She's like, "I like the crunch. Like I like the crunch of the light bulbs." Another person who eats paints.
Paint?
Like they grab like paint and they like eat paint, like actual.
Don't you get high from paint?
Paint the wall. I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's like a stranger. I saw another girl who eats like her hair. She's always like grabbing her hair. She's like eating it, and they find like she has an intestinal blockage of hairball, i.e., just and nothing can go out anymore. And so, out of this stuff, if we see something wrong with this, right? But then there's something wrong with this other stuff también. Now, us being conservative, right, we believe in the Constitution, so people have the freedom to do whatever they want. Pero this stuff looks awkward, man. There's a guy on there on that My Strange Addiction who gets under the car and bangs it, man.
He's addicted.
Yeah, I think he calls the car Richard. I don't remember. But he's there kissing the bumper, caressing it. He calls it my baby. No, this is insanity for us, right? Pero pues at the same time we have freedoms. Pero I mean, there was a time back then, bro, where if they saw like teachers, right, like teachers like in the school, right, if they saw like a kid eating like the eraser, and eating the glue and all, they would say like, this is a danger to society. This kid, like, we need to separate him from the rest of the kids, right?
Yeah.
This is the same thing. These people aquí with this gender neutral stuff, this is a danger to society. We need to lock these people up immediately, man. We need to throw them in the mento, That's where these people go. Eso no está bien, bro. There's nothing beyond man and women. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And okay, Dave Chappelle mentioned it. Esta J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books, she came out and she said like that gender was a fact. They canceled her ass, man. They canceled her ass, for saying that. Pero pues, I mean, what do you get off? Like, ¿dónde vamos a ir a dar if we know that the Earth is round, man? And I can go on all day with this stuff.
Yeah.
There are universal facts, right? There are things that change, but they're universal facts. There's always been male and female. That's how it's always been. There's never been anything else. Oh, what about the worms? They reproduce by themselves. And some creatures in the sea también. Yeah, well, there's asexual also. Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about male. I'm talking about genders.
Okay.
I'm not talking about sexual preference here. There is always been man and woman. And it ends there.
Yeah.
There is no they, them, none of this crap. I don't understand this, and I'm not gonna buy into it. I'm not gonna play into it. I mean, nobody tells me what to do. Number one, and I'm not gonna. You've heard of people? Okay, you need to call me by the correct pronoun. Have you heard of this?
Well, I mean, just with them saying that they or whatever.
Yeah, it's insanity, man.
Or I don't know what.
This is insanity. These people are sick in the brain, man.
And I hate to keep bringing that topic up, but the governors make these dumb decisions that it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like, who the hell are you? Are you a biologist?
And this is I mentioned it before, right? This is up to the retailer, to the store, to decide where they advertise or where they put their stuff.
Yeah,
because it affects their sales.
What they decide to promote.
If they decide that if they do it that way, it makes them more sales or whatever, then fine. But a political.
I hope they get. I hope that people boycott this crap, man. I hope that none of this.
But I hope
that none of this is successful.
This goes back to, are people gonna stand up for what they believe in, or are just gonna go by the crowd, but what's popular, whatever they call it, is the modern way of thinking. This is the new. Better or advanced.
I think unfortunately for us, that being Americans and stuff, we're spoiled to a point. Okay, they have to push it. They have to push it to a point like where they essentially remove your phone. Essentially, like they remove your phone, and now we have a problem. Right, it have to get to that point.
If
where
it gets to that point, now people are gonna be.
Now, then people are gonna start.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
now people are gonna do something about it.
You're going too far.
But by then it would be too late, because what happens is, if you allow this stuff, right, and you keep right, you're just like, I want to let them do this, right. You have a slippery slope. Now I already mentioned the TLC thing, and who was at fault for this? Women are at fault for this, because when we were kids, what would we do? Pinches jotos, right? That's what we would do, right? We'd make fun of them. We're just like fucking queers, right? We'd like making fun of these guys, bullying them in school and stuff. What would the girls say? Déjalos, ¿qué se hace? Déjalos que se estén besando ahí.
Yeah.
Fue. You know, this is your fault. You know, this is the consequence of what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Now that this got out of hand, Montanos feminists, where are they? What are they saying about the unfairness in sports and when men can go in there? They're nowhere to be found.
But back then it was a problem, bro. I think when they were bringing up awareness about, these group of people being accepted in society and all that, is because a lot of people were committing suicide also.
Okay.
Because of that, right?
Yeah.
But now we have this, the story that you said, she committed suicide because of their own group of people.
Yeah, their own group.
Going up against her,
Yeah.
So this is not the problem. Is not that it's something else.
I think another part of the problem is people trying to do the right thing in their mind. I think if people just need to shut up, sit down, and let the people who are gonna set this right,
do your own thing.
Let the courts handle it, let the cops handle it. You stay out of, sit down, shut up, cállate la boca, and don't get involved.
Yeah.
If it comes to a point where like somebody's rights are violated or somebody's freedoms, now for me, right, for us, we have our views on this, but at the same time, we believe in the Constitution. People have freedom to do whatever they want. You can do whatever you want, right? Yeah. Do whatever you want, because we believe in freedoms, right? But then the moment that those freedoms start infringing on other people's rights, then that's when we have a problem. Yeah. Y ahí, don't get involved. Just let the cops, let the courts handle it, right? It'll be sorted out eventually.
It's a perfect example here. The companies, they're
trying to play into some kind of, moral virtue signaling. I don't know. And then it's like other companies también, they want to follow. Yeah. Like if T-Mobile came out tomorrow.
Someone won't even ask to do it, but they just want to be out there and be popular and say like,
if like T-Mobile came out with a commercial tomorrow and it's like, oh, we're all inclusive and we like the gays and they have a rainbow flag. AT&T también. Yeah. Sprint también. Metro PCS. Why? Because all of these people, they can't stand. And this is going back to what you were saying. They can't stand on their own. They can't stand on their beliefs. They have to go with what popular opinion is.
The thing is, like, if a company does it on their own, then that's fine. Like I said, they have... And it's all about inclusion, right? They need to feel included, but why do they feel excluded or otherwise? I don't understand. Yeah. It's just the way that it's always been.
Esto no se miraba mucho, man. Like, back in our time... no se miraba esto. Like it was kept because it's a private thing. Number one, sex is a private thing. Sexual preference. You're not going out there like gay people do it. You see them skateboarding and they have like a flag in their ass. You've seen these guys. They had like dressed with angels. Not that I was looking right, but I had read an article. One time. It just came out on my news feed, and there was like this guy dressed as an angel with a bike helmet, naked, a diaper. And he had a flag on his ass, as he skateboarding down right with a rainbow flag. Okay, this is not normal. this you don't do this, you know. Like como us being straight, we don't go out there and we're like como have like a pussy tattoo or a flag and we're like we worship this. We like eating this thing, right? We don't do that, man. You know what I mean? And the same thing for girls. They're not out there with like a penis así and they're like, this is what I like.
And that's why it doesn't make sense to. The toys, the children. They don't even... Yeah. They're not even supposed to know about this stuff.
No, they're not.
and this is sexual preference. So this is what doesn't make sense to me. A lot of people make it about, it's about loving whoever you choose to love. It's not about love. Yeah. This is about lust. This is about strictly about sex only. It's not about loving anyone else. This is self-love only. I mean, I don't know.
I like this one quote guy I was reading on. I came across it in Instagram because I follow for King and Country. I follow a bunch of pastors on Instagram, And that was one that I saw there, and it was like God created sex to be enjoyed between a man and a woman, like to enjoy sex, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, have feelings for a partner, and it goes beyond feelings and physical and the connection, and it's deep. And then it's like, but then another force came out and created pornography to, how did they say, to pervert that idea, to make it about something else, right? And so that when I read it, I was like, this is true. This is what this quote is saying is true. Like, como Born came out, and now it's like you have an idea of what lust becomes primary, and love and actual, and then that's where you get the confusion.
Yeah.
Where people are like, they don't know what love is anymore, and they have no idea what is love, and nobody knows because you have this where you think love is now this pornography thing.
Yeah.
And that's what people play into now. It's a perversion of the idea. So we've been talking about the gender toys. There was also the Southwest Airlines pilot strike. I don't know if you heard about that. We have a coworker who was somewhere in Virginia or something. And I saw his snap. I read through his story, and I was like, oh, so he's like, safety first, he was saying, because of like some weather. And this was the excuse that the airlines, right, for the most part, they all came together and they said, like, hey, it's a weather issue, right? So in reality, what had happened was the pilots unionized, and they said, you're not going to force the vaccine on us. A ver cómo le hacen, right? So everybody was essentially grounded until they figured it out. They got their jobs back, and everything was fine, right? But this was a problem for a while. There was also... This ties into the shortages, because was at the same time truckers y todos también, they're also in the same boat, right? And so my mom went the other day to the store, and she told me que in the shelves it's starting to look more and more empty. Yeah,
no, and the stores are also sending out letting the customers know, like, do all your Christmas shopping early because we don't know if there's going to be anything left by Christmas.
By Christmas,
because there is a supply chain problem.
That sucks, man. Shit looks like for Christmas it's gonna be a little bit sad. Probably by Black Friday. Hopefully they started earlier. I remember last year they did it earlier. I think
they'll get it sorted through, bro, because they always do, especially to get the sales and stuff. They'll figure it out, and the Biden administration is also involved in asking all these the shipping docks, the people that work there. To work 24/7 or just to make sure we're caught up and we get the supply.
The guy was like, they asked the Biden administration, like, what is the cause of the inflation? And he said that the cause was that people aren't going back to work. But how can people go back to work if you're giving them still unemployment benefits? Who's going to want to work then? And if you go out and check, like, keep passing Dollar General and everywhere else, going by out to where you live, hiring. Everybody's hiring. Where are the workers? Why are they still getting unemployment here? Yeah. If they're able-bodied and they can work.
Yeah. The great resignation is what they're calling it, right? A lot of people just quitting their jobs. And it's hitting the fast food, the industry the most. Yeah. People are just quitting left and right.
Yeah. And we have now, like, they're opening new restaurants aquí. Finally, está progresando a little bit. Star County, Rio Grande, for the most part. Where are you going to get the people to work in these new restaurants? Where are you going to get these people?
I don't know if our city has been hit as much as, like, in other places in the country where there's a lot of people just quitting or not. But we'll see. I think there should be a lot of people here that are wanting to work. But
sí. Well, quién sabe. So now let's talk about the stock markets, man.
All right.
Let's talk about, you were saying that September is like every year is like the slowest.
That's what I've seen. Like, not necessarily the slowest, but usually in September, stocks tend to go down. Yeah. And just because it's at a certain time of the year. And this year, there was worries about inflation. That's what most of the news was coming out in the beginning of September. And just the whole month was kind of downward from there. And what else? It was just because it was the month of September and inflation. And then with earnings season coming up the following month, people are also being, aware of that, and they wanted to see how the companies, I guess, performed for the past quarter. Yeah. Since we're already past that state where we were shut down and then we came back, and then now where are we going to? Because there's supply shortages and all this and inflation and all that. I want to see how companies are performing. So I think investors are a little bit wary of that, and they're
Yeah.
trying to see where things are going. So I think we should see a little bit more of volatility, in the month of October, maybe,
December.
or or maybe not. Maybe we'll just keep going back up the way it was.
Up and down.
But eventually by the end of the year, I mean, I think everything should be back to normal the way it's always been.
I had one friend ask us. He asked me like, when is the best time to invest? And so before we even begin to answer this question, I just want a full disclaimer: we're not financial advisors, right? We're not here to give any financial advice, but we can share opinions, right? Yeah. And so what I told him was, for me, I don't know. I asked him like, is it the best time of the day or the best time of year? Like, what are you asking me? And I think he was looking for, the best time of year. That's what he was looking for. So I first gave him the best time of day. Yeah. And I told him the best time of day that I've seen is at lunchtime. That's the time to go in. Because from the morning to lunchtime, it reaches a high, and then it comes to lunchtime, and it comes back down. And then after lunch, it goes back up. That's what I've seen. That's like a pattern that I've seen. Yeah. So then I said, best time of month, i.e. I couldn't really come up with an answer. Yeah. I told him if you invest, make sure that you invest whatever it is you're comfortable losing, right? So if you have a problem losing $10, then don't invest $10 again. Maybe invest $5 and see what happens. Yeah. Right? Now for me, I don't care about losing. I'm a big risk taker. You know this about me. I'm a gambler. I like to risk. I like to take big risks. For me, the only problem I have, or my only rule, is that whatever I do invest, right, it's usually just $1,000. That's the most I'll ever invest, $1,000. But I need to make sure that in the bank I at least have $1,000. Yeah. So I'm willing to invest anywhere from $1,000 less, just as long as I have $1,000 in the bank, right? So that's my only rule. Risk the rest of it. That's my only rule. Now I don't know if you have any rules, or anything that you follow specifically that could best answer that question. I think he was looking for the best time of year. Like when you... All right, so then I was talking about when he was looking like for the question was, when is the best time of year to invest? Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to give a straight answer like to say, maybe September 15th or January the 1st. You know, there's it always changes year to year. You never know. It depends on what's going on with the economy, what's going on with the world, and with the stock market itself and sentiment overall right now with inflation worries. But there's always going to be something threatening the market to go down. Always. That's what I've learned. There's always something, a threat. Like, the stock market could go down because of this. Yeah. But there's a saying that says the stock market always climbs a hill of worry or a mountain of worry. So even with all those things threatening, it's always going up. Even though now there are times when the market pulls back. Yeah. Like we've seen in September. Right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that big of a pullback even. It was, I want to say it wasn't even 10%. It was big, but 10% is what investors usually are looking for. Yeah. So, like, especially when the stock market has been up for a while, for a few months, and has been coming up, people look to take their profits or whatever, take them off the table. And in months like September, there's not that many people coming in to buy, right? And more sellers. So this is the best time when you want to go in. The time when you see people selling. Yeah. And if you see, normally, like, the way that the stock market has been going for the past year, ever since we hit the bottom of March 2020, it really hasn't gone down like a substantial amount that you say, like 10, 15, 20%. Yeah. Where investors would really catch on and say, this is the time to invest. Yeah. Right? It's gone down a little bit. And so you just kind of have to take it from there. But if you ever see the best time of the year, like my answer would be, is not like a certain date, but it would be the time, whatever time of the year it is, but when you see the market pull back, because that's going to give you the biggest advantage to like make quick money, because usually what happens is if it goes down, like let's say if it goes down 10%, it'll get recovered within a month or two. So the whole thing, the 10% drop usually is like 3 months back of gains. That's slow. It took 3 months for the stock market to gain that much. Yeah. And then in that month, or maybe if it didn't even take the whole month, a few days, it drops 10%. So you lost 3 months of progression, right? So when you see that, that's a great time to go in. And as the saying goes also, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you want to buy. Oh. When everybody's selling, right? Yeah. So this is a great opportunity. You go in and you hold on to it. And then eventually you'll go back up. And for that stretch only, that's the amount of money that you make quick. And then from there on, it's going to go slowly. The market would have another pullback. But this is not the way to invest. Like if you would ask me for real, like my true answer would be if you told me, when's the best time to invest? The best time to invest is always right now. Whatever day it is, right now. Because you don't know if we're at the bottom. You don't know if we're at the top. And even if we're at the top, it's going to keep going to the top.
Yeah.
The best time to invest is gradually, slowly, throughout the year at a consistent basis. That way you catch prices at, even if you catch prices high, you're going to catch some prices slow. Yeah. So you're going to get an average. But overall, the market goes up. So if you're investing for long term, right? If you're asking me something for short term, like what's going to happen tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. Like maybe I'd be able to guess. Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no. Yeah. But if you're asking me for long term, then the best time to invest is always right now, because you can't go back to the past. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the way this works is, let's say you're going to invest consistently for the whole year, and you're going to invest $100 a month. Let's say you're going to invest $10 a day. Yeah. Right. So for the first 3 months, you invested $10 a day, and each day, let's say you gained a certain amount of percentage, right, for 3 months. But then there was a crash. There was like a 10% retraction. So you lost. You haven't made any money for 3 months because you have consistently been investing, and then the market has never crashed that much, and then it crashed, right? So for 3 months you didn't make any money. You're losing, but you don't care about that. You're still buying. So now you're buying at the bottom. So now you're getting some really cheap deals, right? And then eventually in the next 3 months is going to be all the way up to the top. So the money that you made for the 3 months is still there, but now you had the opportunity to buy when it was cheap. Right. So now you have all that gain. So the thing is, like, do not panic when it goes down, and keep buying, because your mindset should always be buy. Like my mentality is like, if I know a company and I like it, like this is a different topic. Like what stock should I buy versus when is the best time to buy? Like, we're talking about the time to buy, right? The stocks to buy is something. It's another topic, right? Yeah. But what was I saying?
So you were saying like the time to buy, not the stocks to buy. When is the best time to buy?
Like you don't have to edit this part, but I remember. Let me try to get my focus again. So
you were about to jump into a particular stock. What you do with a particular stock? Yeah.
So the way my mentality is, right. Like if I like a company, and I like it a lot, right, and I see great potential for the future, not just for what's going to happen right now or in a month from now. Anything could happen depending on what the economy. But if I know, like, 5 or 10 years from now, this company is going to be bigger than what it is now. It's going to be worth more than what it is now. My objective is like, and this is impossible. This is the mindset. Yeah. My goal is to buy all the shares in this company, all of them. There's millions or billions of shares that you won't be able to do that, right? Yeah. But my mentality is like, I'm going to buy as many as I can now. And then as I'm making money, I'm going to use that money to buy more. Yeah. And I'm going to use my own money to buy more. You know, that's the mentality. Your mentality is always to buy more. So to get more shares, doesn't matter what price they are at that time. Because if I buy, let's say, $1,000 worth of XYZ stock, and it dropped 50%, that means I lost 50% of my investment. But if I truly love the company, and I know that 5 or 10 years from now it's going to be a good company, then now if I loved the price, let's say the price was $10 and it dropped 50%, now it's $5. If I liked the stock at $10, now I love it at $5. It's cheaper. Right? Yeah. So if you're looking to invest long term, the best time to buy is always. Yeah. But if you're looking to invest short term, then that's a little bit more complicated. We could talk about that, but I want to say I'm not an expert at that. Yeah. So there is ways to be profitable. There is charts that you can look at. There is certain patterns that you can look at that work most of the time, but not always. And you will have some losses sometimes. You won't always win. Yeah.
That's what I was telling them, okay, it's mostly looking at charts, studying the graphs, and you pick up on certain patterns. And so if there's a particular pattern that you see, chances are that it more likely than not it'll follow itself. Yeah, it'll follow that pattern.
Because the only way to look and see what's going to happen in the future is to look and see what has happened in the past. So if you see a certain thing has happened reoccurring in the past, more than likely that's what's going to happen in the future. And the same thing with the company. How do you know what company to choose, right? So the best companies out there are the only companies that are going to grow in their stock price are companies that are growing, that are becoming bigger. Okay. Even if it's, let's say Netflix. That's one of the stocks that I really like, and recently it's been up.
It's been going up, yeah.
So even if Netflix, being one of the best companies out there, recently, if it stops growing by the numbers that they put out every quarter, and they say Netflix is losing users, the stock would be plummet. It would plummet at that point. It doesn't matter what company you are, because what investors want to see is like, this company is growing, is growing. So as long as a company is growing, it should be good, right? So. And what happens in the short term, it might be different, because depending on what's going on. But how do you find out if a company is growing? For the most part, if it's in like an older company like Netflix, you already know it's been for a long time there. More than likely, it's going to keep going on the same way. But a lot of the companies that are really good, that are the most profitable, bro, for people to invest in and make a lot of money in, are companies like brand new companies. That are like a few years. In the stock market that they IPO'd, but they're really risky because no one knows what's going to happen. But the way you evaluate them is like, you look at their history, and you see, each quarter, how are the numbers coming in? Is it growing? That's how you find out. Like, for last year, from quarter 1 through quarter 4, it grew a consistent like 12-25% or whatever. Now this year, it's even growing even more. And then if you see that, then that's an indicator. And also like whether the company is being profitable or not, or is it losing money, or how much in debt is it. You have to look at all those things. It's really hard to choose a company to invest in. Now these are the really, really good companies that will make you a lot of money, but also the riskiest. So if you're a beginner, if you don't know anything about stocks, the stocks that you should be going to, like, if I would give advice to anyone, a friend of mine or whatever, and I would say like, start investing in stocks, this is the way you should do it, is start investing in like dividend stocks. So stocks that don't usually run up 100% within the year, whatever. Usually they're pretty just sideways. That maybe they go up a little bit, they go down a little bit. But these companies are companies that are old. They've been there forever. They pay you a dividend for holding them. And they're not gonna be too volatile or too chaotic to where you don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be pretty sideways. So if you invest in these companies, you're not gonna risk your money that much. Plus, you're getting the benefit of getting a little bit of a payout, and you get to learn. So if you hold these stocks for like a few years, and then you start to see how the stock market acts, then now I would say, okay, now you can take a little bit more of a risk and say, okay, now you can invest in these new companies, or now you can invest in options and all this. But for the beginning, because I myself, when I started, I had no one to tell me, right? But if I would go back and I could tell myself, be like, do this first, because
when I first started, I started with Ford. Because I own a Ford truck, and I was like, you know what, I have Ford, I'll buy a Ford. And I bought it at a pretty good price, and now it went up $10 from when I originally bought it. Now it's worth like 14 something. I bought it when it was 4. But so we've been talking about stock markets, and again, this isn't, we're not financial advisors. Take everything you just heard as an opinion. Right? You're welcome to use it. If it helps you, then great. If it doesn't, then pues it doesn't. So last time, I think in the last podcast, you were talking to me about... Oh, no, you didn't talk to me about it, but we were hanging out for a while after the podcast, and you told me about this new show that was on Netflix, Squid Games.
Oh, yeah, Squid Games.
So I decided to watch it, right, after you left, and I binged the damn thing all the way till like 5 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So the next day, I finished the whole night I was there because I needed to know what happened next, you know.
At the end.
And, man, I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of metaphors.
Okay.
In that show, there's a lot of my what I gathered from the show was a take, not a making fun of, but a take on capitalism.
Okay.
And the competitiveness of how capitalism works and what people are willing to do. And essentially, right, last time you said that you said something about money, and you said like money is the great something like the
root of all evil.
The root of all evil. So at the end, see what happens is money, you work for money just to die for it at the end. And so this is what I gathered from the show. It's like a take on capitalistic economies. The competitive of it. There can only be one winner. There's always only just 1% on top of everybody else. There is always going to be losers, in which case 99%. And in this case, there was 456 players, 2 of which, right, I won't spoil it, One of them got out for some other reason, and the other one won the game, right? But you see this, i.e., you see the 1% essentially playing part of the game. You know, I don't want to spoil it too much, but this was my takeaway from the show. Just talking in general, capitalism.
Yeah. Well, to that point, also the savageness that goes on, like willing for people to suffer and die, just for
betrayals,
to make more money, and this is true throughout the world, right? But I don't usually watch these kind of shows, especially like they're so violent.
Yeah.
But since everybody was watching and everybody was posting about it, I got curious and I wanted to
hear about it, man. I didn't even know about it.
I wanted to find out about it. Like I didn't want to stay just there like everybody watched it except for me. So then my wife mentioned it and I was like, okay, we'll watch it together. But I'm not that big of a binger. Yeah. So my wife gets mad because we watched like an episode or two and I'm like, okay, that's enough. Enough is enough. Yeah. Let's leave some for tomorrow. And she's like, oh man. So I think we ended up watching it like in 3 or 4 days altogether. Yeah. It was really fun. Yeah. But yeah, the message that I got from it was that, you know, money is, I said before, right, the root of all evil. Like the love for money, not money itself, the love for money.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it was like, you know how people always say, like, when people have a lot of money already, it's like, no, because money is nothing because they have it.
Yeah.
They money's not a problem for them. They have other problems that are deeper than or go beyond what money can buy.
What to do with all that?
What goes beyond what money? How to spend this money is another problem. Yeah. But when you don't have the money is everything because it affects your life and you think of only if I only had this much money, I could do this or I could do that. I'll fix this part of my life. I'll fix that part of my life. When you know at the end. It's not really about money, you know. But unfortunately, that's the way it is for everyone. But what I saw here is how people in there were willing to...
But they were willing to risk.
They were willing to risk their own lives, okay? And then, okay, to a certain point, okay.
Because they got a second chance. Yeah, somewhere in the... It's like, okay, you wanted to leave.
Go home, yeah. But they were willingly they were there. Yeah. Willing to lose their lives. Yeah. But what I want to say is how they were willing to hurt other people.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
For them
for their
to
benefit.
Make it. Yeah. And what this guy learns... at the end, right? And I guess you didn't want to spoil it, but I'm going to have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
But people probably already watched it.
Already seen it by now, yeah.
This guy, at the end, he has a friend in there, right? So since the beginning, he's playing with his friend.
It's like his name is like Jin Han. Or
I don't know what the names are.
Like that,
so hard names. But they're playing together. They're trying to figure out plans. And then they find out that on some of the games, they have to play against each other. So then... this guy starts murdering people. The friend of the main guy starts murdering people, right, to get ahead. And he had his reasons. There was his, even if he went back to his normal life, it might as well have been good as dead, right? So
this is a guy who like sold his mom's.
He was willing to do anything. He was willing to give up his own life for his mom to have some money. So he made sure he was gonna win.
His name was like Subaru or some shit like that. I don't even remember.
So this other guy, the main guy. Start seeing that this guy's turning, like this guy's becoming.
Oh yeah.
Killing people just to get the money. Like what?
Yeah, he confronts him. Yeah.
So he confronts him, and then at the end, there's only those two guys.
Remain.
So when he has a chance to win, he's like, "Well, this is my friend. What are we doing? You know, we have the chance to get out of here, even if we don't take the money."
Yeah.
But the other guy is like, "I've come this far. I've already done what I did. I was even willing to die myself. But since you're my friend, at least, you know, you get the money so you can go help my mom." So he ends up killing himself. So he was willing to go that far. But the other guy, to me, was like, he did learn the lesson that it was about helping other people, not just about the money. Yeah. Right? Because he was willing to get out of there without the money, but at least he helped his friend get out of there alive.
Yeah.
But the whole thing had to happen for him to realize, and I think that the main point of these games that the rich people behind it were making these people play was like, we have all the money in the world, but still we're not complete. We're still the same as you.
Yeah, we're gambling now.
And that we need more. But if you guys learn something from life and this experience in this game, if you guys learn something more to make yourselves better, even something better than us, that we have everything, then this game has played a purpose, right? That's how I saw it. Like, this guy learned that it's not about the money, then it's about helping other people. Because you know how the show ended. Yeah. The old guy was dying, and he came in to see him because he called him in, and he was like, let's play a game. Like, this guy that's there who no one's gonna help him. Like, I'll make you a bet that no one's gonna help him from now to midnight. Yeah. And if no one helps him, I win, and if someone helps him, you win. And then the guy dies eventually, but at the last second, the police stop and help him. But that end picture there for me was like, oh, it was about learning about helping other people. Did you learn that? You know? Yeah,
helping other people. That's interesting. That's another underlying.
Because these people that were dying there, like the way that the rich people were seeing it, right? If these people, even if they get all the money, if someone wins and they get all the money, but they don't learn how to help someone else or for the benefit of someone else instead of their own trying to get the money, then they're as good as dead. Because in here or out there, they're going to be doing things to hurt other people just so that they can benefit themselves. You know? So these people that are dying, they might as well, they're as good as dead because they don't know that in their hearts, you know? Yeah. So the only person's life who had value was the guy who won because he did know how to help other people. So he was worthy of getting out of the games alive. Kind of like a very long and complicated.
It was a good. I was very entertained.
And there were so many other storylines behind that are interesting, like the undercover cop and stuff and all that. So
he finds out that the lead man was his brother, and then the girl.
Supposedly, that there's gonna be a season 2. I don't think so. I think these kinds of shows only. That's how it ends. Yeah. But supposedly there's gonna be a season 2, so I don't know. I don't know if I watched it either. It was too much violence, man. That's a lot of blood.
Man. The first episode, I'm not gonna lie, I was traumatized.
Freaked you out?
I was traumatized by it.
This is the very first one when they started shooting everyone?
Or the second one? This is the first one. That's the one they play red light, green light. I was like, what the hell is this? What am I watching? I was like, everybody's gonna die because everybody started running. Yeah. When the first person died.
I thought people were gonna die, but I didn't think that many people were gonna die. And at the end, after the 6th game, I always thought, like, for sure, at least 10 people are gonna survive. Nobody. Just one guy.
No, one guy. There couldn't be multiple winners.
But then as the game was going, I was like, okay, that's the way this is shaping up. It's like it's only one person is going to be able to get out of here.
Yeah. Chinelas. So we talked about the Squid Games. We talked about a bunch of topics here. There's a game going on right now. The Cowboys are playing who?
The Patriots.
Oh, really?
They're playing right now, yeah.
We got to watch that game. There was a game in soccer. I saw that game. It was Mexico versus El Salvador. Right?
Yeah.
That was this past Thursday, something.
Days ago, yeah.
That was a good game. I saw it. I saw that game. Predictions: Cowboys, Patriots.
Cowboys should have it in the bag.
Cowboys should have it in the bag.
Easy win. I mean, the only thing that is scary is the coach on the other side is a mastermind at game plan. So that's the only. If they end up winning, it's because that guy had a really good game plan defensively.
Just if you will, yeah.
But the Cowboys ultimately are a better team than the Patriots at this point, so they should have the win. They should have it. If anything, if something else doesn't happen, something doesn't surprise us.
Yeah. So then I guess we can leave it there. Be on the lookout for a new channel we're starting. It's a reaction channel. Be on the lookout for merch. I'll put some images on here somewhere on the screen where you can see what it is that we're working on. Anybody interested in buying anything, just leave comments or whatever, so we have an idea, right, of how much to order, how many shirts to order, what size, and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I guess we can leave it there, and we'll see you all in the next one.
All right. See you.